Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna do a video here. I don't know if it's feeding back to my ear pod. Hopefully the volume is great. Basically the vehicle came in. It's got a loud popping noise, a huge binding up issue, 4-wheel drive. Of course, those of you who are inclined to this sort of thing, you know it's probably going to be that CV, constant velocity joint axle. Noticing a few things here. Noticing these shocks are a little bit leaky. I'm noticing that there's some sort of fluid leak getting on that front wheel drive in the inside part. You guys can't see it. I'm also noticing that somebody hasn't been cleaning up very well for greasing. Probably hasn't been greased very well. But what we're gonna do, guys, is simply, we're just gonna get this CV axle out. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carefully pop this metal cap off. Highly recommend you just spritz a little bit of penetrating oil in there. You don't need it. Some guys don't like to use it. I mean, I get it. I can pop it off there too without it. It just makes it that much easier. And if you're a professional repairing other people's vehicles, you want to be in the habit of not marring and bending up stuff, right? So we're going to pop that off. We're going to remove the nut. We're going to go back here and get our 6 15mm bolts off of the flange at the front diff. We're going to hope it just drops out, but if not, we're going to have to move some other stuff around. So I think I'll go ahead and switch to a time lapse. This might be a really quick job, but at least we'll be able to maybe throw it in a different video. Some of my videos are pretty long. Maybe I should start putting like short snippet videos together. But like I said, guys, whenever you're diving into stuff, it's not just about fixing things, it's about noticing other things as far as preventative maintenance, so you don't have to, you know, keep just having surprise fix it type stuff. Ooh, I'm also noticing back here the brakes are a little bit let me bring you down here. What I need to actually see for myself here, and I'll try to get a good shot of it here. Okay, so we do have some good pad life left there, but as you can see in the back of the rotor here, we've got some heavy rust. So we're kind of suspecting probably that this thing just hasn't been driven a lot. Well, I kind of know that, but when you see something like that, the rotors are just really rusty, and you know, there's so much pad life, so that basically indicates, you know, this thing brakes haven't been applied that often, right? So this would be something that if you had extra money, you would just do a brake job, but it's not really something that is pertinent, you know? So just getting things adjusted here. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a good old time lapse, and we will see you on the other side. Okay, we got everything off pretty quick. One thing I wanted to add in the time lapse, when you're taking off the big nuts on front axles, on this application it's just a regular nut. They do recommend replacing that every time you take it off, really. But what you want to look for is when there's a crushable part of the nut that dives into the axles. You don't want to just start cranking on it, trying to loosen it. You want to tap that crush spot out first and then loosen it, because you'll just give yourself all kinds of troubles. Anyway, just wanted to add that in as a tip. I'm sure most of you guys know that. So you probably could gather I do have to remove the sway bar end link there. It's extremely rusty. So this might be the sticky point of this job. I'm trying to get this balanced so it's not just floating here. It's like going back and forth. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get this right. So yeah, stuff like this, you want to be careful and really I'm going to go ahead and pre-soak this. I'm actually going to turn it off. I'm going to pre-soak this this end link, and man, I got to organize my stuff. It is getting a little bit ridiculous over here. One second, guys. I just had penetrating oil there. I got like 15 different brands of stuff. All right, let me get some this happens to be liquid branch penetrating oil. I've used PB a lot, really like that stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and shut her down and use the light to find out what's leaking on the front diff. This might be a great time to do the axle seal if it is indeed leaking. So, in fact, let's take a look, guys. Okay, yep, oh, big time. Yeah, the axle seal is definitely leaking. Let's see here. Sorry for the terrible cameraing here, guys. So, I'm sure you guys see it's basically washed out right here a little bit. So I know that seal's leaking. I think I can pop that out. There's a possibility it doesn't just pop out though. What I'm talking about is that flange might just knock right out. I could pop that seal in. But I remember the last one I did, it may have been the other side though. I had to get it down on the ground for some reason. Maybe we were doing an oil pan and we threw in the seal. But as you can see, it's definitely leaking. And the bolts smell. That seal's leaking pretty good too. So both axle seals are leaking. I'm gonna have to call the customer. While we're down here, let's take a look at oil pan. Transmission's looking good. Looks like a 4L60 or something like that. Possibly. I don't see a bunch of leaks down there. The rear diff looks good. So, this, I can't really get to it with the camera. Oh, so sorry guys, my camera equipment. So, anywhere where this axle shaft or the housing bolts onto the front diff, I can see it's actually leaking. So, again, this would actually warrant dropping the front diff and make it a lot easier. What's his name? A lot easier replacing the seals, and then that housing needs to be taken off. So I'm probably gonna make a few phone calls here. Over now. Okay, just put this axle in. I didn't take a close enough look at it. Just kind of went along with the previous customer said, and boy, oh boy, yeah, this front diff's gonna have to come out and be rebuilt. So the flange here, what was happening is people were just moving the CV axle, and of course there was movement, but nobody else, ouch, that freaking hurt, would thought to come back to this flange here, and you could tell where it inputs into the ring gear, there's a ton of movement, so I'm guessing the bearing is spun. Bearing failure due to lack of fluid, because it is leaking out of all ends. So who knows? Let's check the fluid though really quick. Alright. Ooh. Now, I probably should have grabbed a tool to actually go in there. But... Alright, there's really no need to get this thing up on all fours. It's just a matter of if I want to stick with the new axles. Alright, let's see here. Seems like it's actually full. Oh yeah. Full, but absolutely nasty. So, who knows, maybe it burned up one time and then it bearing failure and they've kept it full, but the fluid, it looks extremely bad. Lots of metal in it, so it's probably been in there for quite some time. Not sure why. Well, who knows? You go all day about this stuff. I'm just gonna put this in. Yeah, I better put it in all the way. Okay. We're gonna roll back and check the front drive shaft. Just make sure nothing's going on. This is missing its gasket, by the way. Just noticed that. Alright. Okay, let's see if we can get a view of the drive shaft. There we go. Let me slide over there. Okay. Damn it. I would just recommend new U-joints. They're all rusted anyway. Seems like the T-case up. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna call that a U-joint. This U-joint here is bad. Worn. This front one looks newer. Sorry for the noise. Slide to the back here. Here's our evap canister for when we need to check out this code. Probably just gonna clear it. Alright, doesn't seem very loose. Alright guys, that's it for the checkout. Gonna call the customer.